What's going on, guys? So we have a Hydra and Trunda and Shields update. Let's see what this is going to bring in. It's very interesting. This is my live reaction, so let's go through it.
A different kind of update preview for you today. We're showing off some balance changes coming to the Hydra and a few other areas of the game. Along the way, we'll explain why we're making these changes, but here's a quick overview. The current meta is way too limiting to players who don't have specific champions in their collection.
Okay, so that's fair. Yeah, if you don't have specific stuff, you can't do specific things.
Want you to experiment with different tactics and teams, switching things up each week.
That's the big thing for this. It stifles variety and innovation and fun if it's just the same teams everywhere.
Let's dive in and take a closer look at what's coming. First up, we're setting the turn limit at 1,000 turns. Auto-battling the Hydra can easily take over an hour, so we're aiming to cut down the time by at least half an hour. You'll now need to build teams that do damage faster, rather than teams built for a war of attrition. With a few adjustments, you'll have no problem reaching the damage numbers needed to get your usual rewards. Moving on, we're changing how the Serpent's Will buff works. Most importantly...
Okay, so Serpent's Will, that's the debuff that they have on when they come back from being decapitated and reduces your damage by 50%, I believe it is.
And brace yourselves, folks. It now reduces damage by 100% for an...
Wow. Okay, so that means they're going to be immune to damage for one turn. That changes everything. That changes all of the Trunda teams. Okay.
Newly grown Hydra head. Yep, you read that right. Complete damage reduction. You won't be able to nuke a newly grown head straight out of the gate anymore. Hold on though, there's good news too. If two heads regrow at the same time, only one of them will get the Serpent's Will buff. Champions have gotten strong.
That's nice, and they did say complex, but this isn't actually necessarily complex. I think it's actually simple. That's a good change. So only, like, if you've all four heads, then it's only going to be one immune coming back, so that's good.
Longer since the Hydra initially reared its heads. What with Awakening, Empowerment, and Mythical Champions joining the fray. We were seeing Hydra heads nuked as soon as they rejoined the battle, even with the 75% damage reduction. So, to make the fight even, and bring back some of the challenge that's been lost due to the game's evolution.
Just stopping right there. Who the hell plays on... You can't see it there. There we are. 1x speed. I was wondering why Newt was in slow motion there.
The Hydra is getting a little stronger too. We're also making changes to digestion and devouring. You know how late on in the battle your champions start getting digested on a 2-turn countdown? Well, for every subsequent time they get digested after that first 2-turn countdown, the damage you'll need to do to free your champion increases. Like with Serpent's Will, digestion and devouring lost much of its intended challenge over time as more powerful champions and features were introduced. It was always meant to be one of the Hydra's key mechanics and an ever-present threat, but it became really easy to rescue allies that were being digested. So, we're bringing that fear back into digestion. Taunts won't help anymore either. The Hydra has shed its thin skin, and petty insults will no longer distract it from a delicious champion meal sat right in front of it.
Now, I don't agree with that, because they said taunt was specifically meant to do that. Yeah, I don't like that because they were saying it's a specific thing, but let's see if they've replaced that kind of ability with something else.
In short, once a champion receives the mark of the Hydra debuff, they become public enemy number 1, and Taunt isn't going to do anything about it. Taunt is a cool mechanic, but new champion combinations emerged that could totally negate the mark of the Hydra. Less cool. It's not all bad news, though. Your team's AI will now prioritize attacking the head that is digesting when you're running in auto battle mode. Teamwork makes the dream work. Exposed necks are also getting a rework. From now on, exposed necks will have a set HP value that is double the original head's HP. Once that value reaches 0, the head will immediately regrow. With constantly regrowing Hydra heads, you'll need to think...
Oh. So your big damage phases aren't just as big anymore. So they'll have 200% of the HP, but you'll also do 200% of the damage.
On your feet and have tactics in place for all potential scenarios. Oh, man, Hydra battles are about to get much tougher. But the changes don't stop there. We've got a few more lined up to help keep things balanced, starting with shields. Shields will now receive a cap of 1,000,000 points. This cap is separate for shields placed by artifacts and shields placed by skills, though. So you could get up to 2,000,000 points of shield. These caps are still big enough to ensure powerful builds remain viable for taking on the Demon Lord and the Hydra, but they'll not be as game-breaking as before. And lastly, we come to everyone's favorite Dwarven warrior herself, Trunda Guilt Mallet. Don't worry, we're not nerfing her into oblivion. We're just rebalancing some of her skills to keep her damage numbers in Hydra battles more reasonable.
That's nerfing.
Starting with her default skill, Golden Mallet, Trunda will now have a 50% chance to place a stun debuff on both hits. A little upgrade, but a neat one for PvP. Trunda's second skill, Cloak of Ages, will now ignore 50% of each target's defense on her second hit. However, the caveat here is that it will only ever be a normal hit. It's still big damage, but it won't be quite as astronomical as they have been before.
Right. They've completely changed that. That's a huge nerf to that move. So them saying that it's not a nerf or whatever is a load of horse crap. To be fair, it is a better Wukong. It is a better Siegfried in that she doesn't require the kill to do the AoE portion of that move. But for the purposes of Hydra, it's all of the multipliers and crit damage and everything else reapplying the second time around that does all of the astronomical damage. So that's a huge nerf. That's a bit of a fib saying that it's not a nerf, saying that it's a rejig. So for Hydra, massive nerf. For everywhere else, it's actually probably better.
Forge Rhythm, Trunda's third skill, now places consistent HP burn debuffs, and both hits from this skill deal 50% more damage to enemies under a stone skin shield. Another neat boost to her overall kit. And finally, her passive skill now increases Trunda's attack by 5% for each stun or HP burn debuff.
10% for each stun or HP burn debuff this champion places on enemies stacks up to 50% per round. And speed increases as well by 5 for each enemy currently under HP burn or stun debuff and stacks up to 15.
Buff she places on enemies. Her speed will still be increased as well, both by stun and HP burn debuffs. All in all, Trundle isn't going anywhere. We still expect her to be an excellent choice for Hydra battles and the arena. We tested a ton of early, mid, and late game champion rosters and team compositions when making these changes. Our results showed things will get better. You'll still be able to earn Hydra chests and milestone rewards in Hydra Clash. And you'll spend less time fighting the Hydra each week. As always, we'll be keeping an eye on your feedback and monitoring game data to see how these changes affect Hydra battles overall. We hope this preview has been useful for you and will help you prepare for more battles against the Hydra. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Raid.
Maybe I will. Maybe Raid, you should subscribe to my channel. How about that? Anyway, that's all really good actually. It's a big nerf for Trunda, and I didn't see what they were saying about this the Hydra Clash bar. This are they lowering that? Because it's going to be much harder now to get to 1.2 billion. So this is going to be something that's done over, for most people, over a number of weeks rather than weekly. So I think that's much tougher. We're going to see, it's actually even getting 650 million plus. It's not impossible, and a lot of, like, I'll definitely be able to do that. And I might be able to do 1.2 billion over my 3 teams weekly. But for most people, they're not going to be able to do that, I think. So yes, this is all much better for Hydra Clash, but I hope they change this bar here, because that's the only thing really I'm worried about, but we're going to see teams scoring much better. I know my clan leader, my ex-clan leader now, shout out Sister Karen, actually go over and subscribe to Sister Karen on Twitch. Great, fun, crazy Twitch streamer. Really smart, really good, just amazing person overall. SISTAKAREN. Yeah, she ran teams that weren't gimmicky, and she was consistently one of our highest scoring people on Hydra Clash, week in, week out. It was only in the last couple of weeks that she was in Raid that she made a Trunda team and stuff like that, but before that she was getting massive scores without that. So you can still do really big scores. There's probably, like, they've shortened the time for Hydra, but I think you're gonna need more more manual time. So you may have to put in more time on this to get the big scores than you did previously overall. Even though they've cut the time in a third, so they've cut it down to 1,000 turns instead of 1,500, which means you only have 2/3 of the time that you had previously to get these kind of points. So yeah, like, think of your mind you, they've changed a lot of the mechanics, so they're going to need to rebalance these scores. There's no way it's going to be as high scoring as it was before. There's absolutely no chance, especially with the respawn mechanic for the heads, especially with the way the heads are. So right, we've two respawn mechanics for the heads. When they're decapitated, they have a health bar now that's 200% of their normal health bar. When that's gone, they respawn. When they respawn, they're immune to damage. So that's one full damage phase where you can't do anything to them. They're not receiving any damage and they're a threat to you. Your champions are going to be devoured more and consumed more, and your time is slashed. So there's 4 big nerfs to your damage, and that's not even including the Trunda and shields and all that kind of thing. There's 4 big nerfs to your damage coming from this, so they need to readjust those scores. 650 million and 1.2 billion may not be viable anymore overall. So they're definitely doable. They are definitely doable, those scores, but the vast majority of people, it will take a far greater effort to get to those points. So they need to adjust these as well, I think. I actually do like what they've done, because it's going to create innovation. It's going to be looking at more different compositions and better teams, and we'll see a lot more cool stuff coming up, rather than just like, okay, build this set menu and, you know, away you go, click, 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 click for 2 hours or whatever. And look, I've done it as well, so I know what the crack is. But yeah, I think overall the changes are good, but they need to adjust the points in relation to that. We're going to see a lot more healthy competition in Hydra Clash. We're still going to have people that are way above and beyond what anybody else can do, and that's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of the game. But I think the only thing they need to do now is watch the point averages and the point, not the point averages, the point mean. Okay, and find the mean of where it is and maybe adjust, not back towards that, not too much, but enough. Like, I mean, maybe if this was 800 or 900 million and this came down to 5 million, something like that. But let's wait and see what the reality of those changes are before we make any judgments. But my initial thoughts are, it's 4. Not including Trunda and Wixwell shields and all of that, 4 massive nerfs to your Hydra damage. 4. and no change to the price, to the point totals. So yeah. Anyway, guys, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.